You want to know the weirdest thing that I've seen since humanity obtained FTL? Mac Coltello slid a drink sideways as he sat before his own. I mean, like, really weird. His current drinking partner, a hexapedal insectoid whose name, by a strange quirk of probabilities across galactic scales, sounded exactly like Fred Fredrickson to any human listening, ventured a guess. Was it that Tarkon migration that collided with the outer Magellanic Cloud's nomadic conclave and wound up producing like 8 new species? Nah, although that one was hilarious in hindsight. I mean, that migration is like clockwork. The conclave could have delayed a week and been fine. No, the weirdest thing I ever saw was the last day of Old Earth. The skies were black with cosmic plague ships. You know that's not what they're called. Fred clicked and chittered. Hey, we won. We get to call them whatever the hell we want. Anyway, they had us surrounded on all sides, and they were laying down one hell of a bombardment. I mean, they were intent on glassing the planet. In the first hour alone, nearly 20% of the species on Earth were made extinct. This isn't really sounding weird, Mac. This is just sounding really depressing. We're gonna need stiffer drinks if it's gonna be that kind of night. Keep your carapace on and let me finish, Fred. Damn. Anyway, EDCOM was sending out distress calls on all bands, but they were warning all other ships to stay away. Even at the last moments of our homeworld, we humans didn't want anyone else dying to these slithering fucks. Mac downed his drink in one gulp and gestured at the barkeep for another. Anyway, I was up at an orbital defense station that hadn't been blown out of the sky yet. I'm looking down at this black mass that's just surrounding the planet, and wondering how we managed to piss off the single biggest threat in the galaxy and convince them to converge, in their entirety, on our planet to annihilate us. One of their larger ships finally noticed our little station, and turned to take us out. I was looking out the observation window at their main weapon charging up, and all I can even think to do is throw up a middle finger and wait for the instantaneous death they were promising. So I did. And right then, the ship just vaporized into a cloud of white-hot metal droplets scattered with whatever the hell the tentacle monsters are made of. I mean, it was a beautiful sight. Just me at the window, middle finger up in open defiance of death, and an expanding cloud of destruction. Then the radio crackles to life, and I hear the most insane thing ever. This gravelly voice comes over the comms and shouts, "Quapla!" I look to the right, and there's a whole-ass Klingon bird of prey off to our starboard. Wait, Fred interrupted. Aren't those from that dumbass show you used to watch? Star Walk or something? Okay, Fred, first off it's Star Trek, and I'm gonna pretend it was a translator glitch that fucked you up on that one. Second, yes, Klingons are entirely a work of fiction from one of our old TV shows, but that's not the craziest. I look back planet side, and I see all these contracts breaking warp and appearing right over the plague ships. And when you know it, the Klingons weren't the only ones I recognized. There were X-Wings and fucking TIE fighters. Star Wars? Mac nodded. There was a legit classic flying saucer from Mars Attacks. Those guys were on the comms just acting like mad. They were so committed to the bit. There was even a slightly smaller version of the Pillar of Autumn from Halo, with dozens of guys wearing full Spartan gear hurling themselves out of airlocks and ramming themselves into plague ships. I'm still convinced I saw someone with one of those ridiculous energy blade weapons carve a hole through holes like butter. I mean, it was carnage. Pretty soon, the skies were just filled with weapons fire and hulks of plague ships spiraling into each other. The plague ships stopped bombarding the planet and focused all their attention upwards. Even more ships came out of the darkness to our defense. A whole armada of Retribution-class warships from Warhammer 40k rained unimaginable firepower. And basically, the entire Northern Hemisphere's attacking plague ships. It was beautiful. Fred gestured for a refill, as he set his empty glass aside. So, all of your fiction came to life to protect your planet? I mean, kinda. Once all the plasma cooled and the debris started to congeal, we got the chance to exchange videocons with the Klingons. You wouldn't believe it, but it was just a bunch of deeply committed nerds wearing various degrees of quality of prosthetic face ridges, sporting baths and shouting whatever words in Klingon they knew. The same was true for everyone in the TIE fighters, X-Wings, all the Warhammer guys. You knew those guys had too much money as it is, so their ships being as big as they were wasn't even that surprising. Everyone up there was a human that embraced the opportunities provided by the arrival of humanity on the galactic stage. Finally, with the sudden access to galactic shipyards and the surprisingly valuable currency of human labor output, ordinary people were able to afford whole ships complete with armaments of every type. And when it finally came down to a live or die moment, every nerd lived out their greatest fantasies and saved the world. Fred raised his newly refilled glass. To the nerds? Mac raised his in reply. To the nerds.